This is Justin Scoop for SPX on Tuesday, September 16th, 2025. And recapping a little bit of what I covered yesterday. So I was expecting a gap up. We've been doing these alternating days. So we've got bear, bull, bear, bull, bear, bull, bear. And we did that a couple weeks ago. Uh, I was expecting a gap up, anticipating that. And we did make a new all-time high. And then we sold off and we actually put in a low of 6,600.11, which is actually closing the gap I talked about yesterday from the high 2 days ago of 6,600.21. So we actually did close the gap, which means, hey, we could go higher from here for that particular gap. There's other ones that are still open. I think there should be plenty. Uh, but we actually somewhat had a bearish engulfing day from high to low. The body itself, not so much. We did have some buying, right at the end of the day here, which actually doesn't look like that. Nope, let me say that differently. We didn't have buying anything to the day. We put in a low and then came up, and we actually didn't buy right into the close, but we did have some buying towards the end of the day. But we had put in enough of a low and kind of recovered from there. So looking at the 3 minute, yeah, we weren't buying at the end of the day. Sorry about that. All right. So we're right on this midline again of the same channel. I'm zoomed in here again just to show that, hey, here's that high, here's that low. There's no longer a gap, an open gap here that got closed. If we zoom back out a little bit, let's see how bad. Yeah, that zoomed way out too far. So go watch I think it was yesterday's video, or maybe 2 days ago, where I'm pointing back at these candles here where we were alternating bear bull, bear bull, bear bull, and then we're doing that again from this day, bear bull, bear bull, bear bull, bear, and we'll see if we get a bullish candle tomorrow. Tomorrow is the Fed announcement for interest rates. I believe at 1 o'clock Central, something is being announced or minutes released, something, and then I think a speaker after that at some point. So watch out for that. Be careful what you're doing with day trades. Let's look at some of the day trading today. So anticipating a gap up and selling, I was looking to enter bearish right near open. Here was the 6,600 put, and it traded nice and small. Actually, let me open this a little bigger here. So a pretty big opening candle, but still a range under $1. Then the next candle was even inside of that. You really could have set this up to get in like above this candle and a stop down below this candle. Let's just say an entry at 3 and a stop down at 2. And that actually would have worked. I don't know if it would have filled on this candle, but the low here is 3. And then that ran up, put in a high for this option at 6.9. So this could have easily doubled the option from 3 up to 6, or if obviously risking $1, so buying at 3, stop at 2. If that had filled, or if you had filled over here, that would have been a 3, like triple your risk, so a 3R trade, or double the option, however you want to look at that. If I zoom back out, because I did want to look at just the way the day traded. So getting out at 6 or around that makes sense because we were actually at that point engulfing and about to take out the low from or come back into the open price of yesterday. So that was down through here, and that was where it made its high. That was just the 6,600 put. There were some other opportunities later in the day trading that. It looked like the value got pretty small here. Oh, that's further than I wanted to zoom. Let's see if I can. All right. Because I have the log scale, it's kind of jumpy. This came all the way down to a low of 0.2 late in the day and then just got bought up, or the option got bought up. The stock was selling, or SPX was selling. There was a couple things during the day that I was noticing, or looking back at it now, I was noticing. So we were holding below this. Let's try that again. We're holding below the purple line here, and we're getting some consolidation. We broke out, retested. So this is kind of opposite of what we did yesterday. I think it was yesterday, where we kind of retested that convergence point, and then we started to go up, but it was really, really choppy. Uh, there was there were opportunities to get in some calls through here. That was this range. But if you had gotten in on that retest back over here, this was a little bit before 1 o'clock. That would have been, I think, around here. It was around the same price. So I'm going to turn the drawings off and let's see what price that was. So right here, that was a price low of 1.4, low over here 1.45, low right here 1.4 again. So you had the same opportunity multiple times to buy at this level. So it was actually putting in a really nice support here for this option. This is the 6615 call. One reason I had this up is I'm working on a strategy, spending literally buying and spending $1 on the option and looking for a certain return. So I'm still working out the details of that. But I was in this one. I bought it $1. It filled over here, and then it was not going. It was not rallying as strongly as I was hoping it would, and so I exited at 1.5. So just a little, really small gain. But I'm glad I got out at 1.5 because it was actually somewhat retesting some of these lows once that sold off. So um, yeah, so I'm glad I got out when I did because it did not get back up here or further, which is where I was looking, and ended up selling off uh, very shortly after I was getting out of that, right at the end of the day. So, usually watching a much shorter time frame, even shorter than 3 minute that I'm on these windows here. Uh, so with the things happening tomorrow, there's been just a lot of extra volatility. And so options aren't selling off as strongly. Like I think there's, not just today's expiration, because today's still moved okay. I think tomorrow's, there's still going to be the prices of options are still going to be overinflated probably till that 1 p.m. Central, maybe even past that a little bit, maybe 1:30. So be really careful. We shouldn't have something this close to the money. So like this is the 6615, and we actually, got in the money or at the money right through here, and it was worth around $3 at that point. I think we'll be much further away for an option at this price tomorrow. And I've seen that before on other days where there's Fed announcements. So just be really careful that, to pay $3 for this option where you're at the money, you might be tomorrow, you might be paying $3 for an option that's 50 points out of the money. It just really depends on the volatility and how much the market makers are just going to suck that volatility out once 1 p.m. hits. But today, things are still somewhat moving, somewhat normal. Um, Even all through this, we were kind of bouncing around. So from like 1.5 or 1.75 going up to closer to 3. I really need to get a mouse that I can draw straight on or something with how my hand is going. So all through that, we were kind of putting in, trying to see where that was. So 10:30. So I think that was somewhat going up. Um, so we're pulling back to kind of a relative level, but we were actually going up, kind of going this way. But because we had a bunch of bull candles in a row, we actually did push back up stronger and put in a high here, higher than or about the same as the high through here. So just showing kind of what options are doing, how they're moving today, should be very different from how things are moving tomorrow. But there should still be plenty of opportunities coming up. Just be careful with how things go tomorrow. But throughout the day today, plenty of opportunities to buy. Once we put in kind of this low or this base down here, the consolidation I was talking about and breaking out, looking for that kind of retest, looking for the option to um, consolidate and then kind of run. We didn't get a huge, like even a low candle over here or touching back into the purple line. It didn't really have a huge spike down. Sometimes that'll happen where there's a little extra selling on one candle, the option value will lose its premium, and then a bunch of people get stopped out, like it takes out a low. That didn't happen today. I mean, it happened over here, but that was obviously more selling, and that did take out a low. But we really did suck a lot of premium out. So it was waiting till kind of the end of the day to do that, but kind of staying steady, midday with kind of what the price range was going to be today. So things are just moving a little different. options weren't getting as cheap as usual. And then as things moved at the money or into the money, it wasn't as explosive. So I think things have just been a little bit quieter early on this week. So I think that goes both for the calls and the puts. So uh, yeah, we'll see kind of how things move around uh, tomorrow and see what that means for what's going to happen with this channel or interacting with some of the other lines we've got on here. Hope this helps. This is Justin. Thanks.